Breaking news, Islamic terrorist group ISIS releasing a video purportedly showing the beheading of British hostage David Haines. With me now from D.C., Fox News military analyst, Lieutenant Colonel Bill Cowan, and here in New York, the strategic communication advisor for the Syrian coalition, Ubay Eshanbander. All right, Colonel Cowan, first, your reaction to the breaking news tonight.
Well, Judge, this was kind of in your face to our president and in your face to David Cameron. I don't think the president said anything the other night that scared ISIS in the least. They want to stand up and show us that. I don't think the president said anything that made any of our potential coalition partners feel that confident about how much we're in the game.
You know, it's interesting. We just had Ambassador Dennis Ross on, and what he said was you'll find that these terrorist groups, when things are kind of on the downside for them, they'll do a beheading to kind of show their strength again, to draw attention away from an alleged weak feeling. Do you agree with that?
Well, you know, we've had a couple successes, the Haditha Dam, the village of Amriel, of course, the Mosul Dam, but those are minor tactical victories. They don't really accomplish the overall objective of weakening or ultimately destroying ISIS. So I don't totally agree with the ambassador, although I agree with almost everything else that he said.
Okay, and I'm going to go to you, Ubay. Now, do you believe that the president is now saying when he's going after ISIS in Syria without ground troops that he's putting the burden on the Syrian troops?
Well, the burden to fight ISIS has always been on the Free Syrian Army. They started the fight against these Islamic extremists in January with little to no support from the outside world. And the reality is the United States needs a partner on the ground in the heartland where ISIS operates. Syrian tribes and the Free Syrian Army have been taking the fight, but they've been outgunned, outmatched. Now is the time for the United States to jump in all the way.
All right, and now we're saying that we're going to arm them. How do we know who we're arming, Ubay?
Well, you got to have a vetting process. You've got to have due diligence. The good news story here is that for the past 2 years, the United States government has been working behind the scenes with freedom fighters on the ground in Syria. There's been a training program that's been hosted in regional Arab states. So there is a process in place. Now is the time to expand it so that the Pentagon can come in and work with these guys on the ground.
Colonel, do you think we even have time for this? I mean, we're going to have to vet these individuals that we're going to start arming. Ubay says that we've been kind of doing this for 2 years. Is that what you're suggesting?
That's correct.
Yes. Okay.
Well, look, Judge, you know, the real problem about the whole issue is timing, because it takes time to put a coalition together. It takes time to get the Iraqi security forces re-equipped and re-prepared to go back to battle. It takes time to get the Syrian opposition together. We don't know how much time all of this is going to take, but we do know one thing. While it's taking time, ISIS continues to consolidate and recruit by the thousands.
No
and so
question.
It just makes our problem bigger.
No question. Ubay, the colonel's right. ISIS grows stronger every day.
You let these guys consolidate, they're going to be here in New York. Well, you can't wait a week. You can't wait 2 weeks. How many more people have to be beheaded before the message is loud and clear that this is a global war? The United States has partners on the ground that can go into the headquarters and fight ISIS if they're given the necessary weapons. We can't delay. Airstrikes must happen.
Okay, well, they are happening. But Colonel, I'll go to you. Does ISIS have an Achilles heel?
No, Judge, I don't think they do at this point, and I don't think we're going to know whether or not they do for a long time. But I agree exactly with what he just said. The president should have announced the other night the immediate commencement of devastating, relentless airstrikes on every known or suspected ISIS target in Iraq or Syria. And that would have at least got us on a path where we could start seeing other things fall together and maybe make a dent on ISIS. But we're not. We're just a few strikes here, a few strikes there, zero impact on the big picture.
Colonel, does that surprise you?
No, not at all. Not from this president. I think he's still scratching his head and trying to figure out what to do. I think he probably is getting good advice from the Pentagon now. I don't think he got good advice before, but he just doesn't want to be a man of action.
Or maybe he wasn't listening. Last word, Ubay.
Syria is the missing piece here. You can hit ISIS in Iraq. That's a body blow. You got to strike straight in the heart. If you hit them in Syria, and if you work with the tribes and with the Free Syrian Army, that's the nail in the coffin of ISIS. It's already too late, but the United States, with partnerships on the ground, can finally take the fight to ISIS in Syria.
Well, we'll see what's got to be on the ground. Anyway, Colonel Cowan, Ubay, thank you so much. And coming up, a nuclear plant here in America left completely vulnerable to attack. The shocking details and what needs to be done before it's too late. That's next.